Hello, Tommy. What's up? This is Noah, and I noticed that we can do a YouTube video instead of writing our answers on a Word document. And I mean, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I've done some things like this in the past, but I think it's unique, and I think that I like the way how we were having a conversation on like the book that we read. So I thought we could change things up, and I'm sure not a lot of people are doing a video. So it might help you with grade and just take a break. So I think I'm gonna try just to do one cut, so it's not gonna be all choppy. So if it gets a little bumpy, just bear with me. I've actually taken a lot of notes and to like prepare for it. So we'll see how it goes. So um, the film that I chose to watch for the project or the exam was The Breakup, made in 2016, starring Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Anderson. And I just got finished with it, so it'd be fresh in my mind. And let's just start with the first question. So, the first, the escalating and de-escalating, the first thing is initiating. So that's kind of showing you're interested in making contact. So in the movie, that's pretty much the first scene in the movie where they're at the ballpark and he offers Brooke a hot dog, and he really kind of flirts with her and makes it known that he wants to keep talking to her and to see her more. And it pretty much jumps right into experimenting with small talk. There, once the game's over and they're trying to leave the ballpark, he kind of blocks her in and really tells her how he feels. And she's actually with a boyfriend, and he just says like you're pretty much not gonna be with him for the rest of your life, so that you should give me a shot. So they go straight into dating, and then the credits roll. So it shows all the pictures of their relationship. So that's pretty much the intensifying, spending more time with each other, flirting. You see pictures of them going on trips, that sort of thing. So it kind of jumps into intensifying. You see them at taking a picture at a bowling league. So they're also integrating, identifying as a unit, as a couple, like our friends, our house. You see them painting the house together. So they're spending that time together. And then finally the bonding. I don't know if they marry, but I'm pretty sure they move in together, or they do move in together, and they are very committed to each other. So it really just jumps right in. So 1 through 5, it's like boom, first 20 minutes. But then the whole rest of the movie is the downward slope, the I don't know the de-accelerating or whatever. So the differentiating, the reestablishing their individual identities. One thing that stuck out to me was he really wanted to get a pool table, and whenever they had their big breakup, he was like, I've always wanted a pool table, so I'm getting a pool table, and he brought one home. So that was a big example from there. The stagnating, or I skipped one. Number 7, the circumscribing is kind of like to reduce the contact of kind of us as a group. And I also saw that at the bowling league. Kind of my friends, they took a vote, and then he kind of got kicked off the island. So you're kind of claiming your things back, and you're reducing contact. The one thing I found weird with that was, in the relationship, they should have been reducing contact, but they were still living in the same house. So that was not a good thing, because they were fighting all the time and they were really not getting that separation. And the stagnating, the old familiar ways, there was no joy in the house. He would come home from work. They marked off, he had the living room as his room and she had the bedroom, and they kind of stayed separated, and they were not anything a part of each other. They just had that same old feeling, routine. And then the avoiding. That's also when they started going out. Whenever they were gonna fight, she would go to her room, call her sister, and he would go to a bar because his friend was a bartender. And sorry, I keep checking my watch because I want to make sure that I'm still rolling, because that would suck if I was saying all this stuff. And it wasn't even recording. But avoiding each other. They would just not want to they wouldn't want to be in the house together. They would always want to be separate. And then finally terminating was when they had their separate rooms, and she was giving notes instead of actually talking to him. She laid a note saying, sold condo, will be out in 2 weeks, and then finally moving out. That was their terminating the relationship. And then towards the end, like the last 10 minutes, it's a love story, so they have to bring it back. So they terminated it. She went on her trip, and about 2 years later, I'm guessing, they bumped into each other, and they kind of sparked that new, initiating small talk. They were really nervous, and it was kind of starting the whole relationship over again. So maybe they went through the whole little platform again of escalating and de-escalating the relationship. So that's question 1. Moving on to question number 2 is all the relationship dialectics, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember your fourth one that you said to include, but I'm gonna go over 1, 2, and 3. So the dialectic of integration and separation. This is talking about how I need the freedom. So a good part of the movie was whenever he would get off work and he just wanted to chillax and watch some TV, and she was all up in his grill. That was towards the beginning of the movie, and I need the space. I need to not have you up in my grill. I just need 20 minutes of me time. And kind of on all these relationship dialectics, they had the internal feeling and then the external. And the dialectic of stability and change, this means, so if there was too much stability in the relationship and there wasn't enough spice, that it could get stale. And I really think this affected the couple. I'm pretty sure this really affected the couple because they just kind of had their same old routine. They were stuck in that, hey honey, how was work? Good. Hey honey, how was work? Good. And they didn't have enough spice in the relationship. And then finally the third one was dialectic of expression. This expression and privacy. So in the book they explained it as when you don't want to answer a question, you still have a life. When you're in a relationship, you still have a life. So you don't have to, I feel like nowadays whenever you get in a relationship you think, I have to, do everything they want, but no, you still have your way. So I think that was a big one with them, is because towards the end they didn't really want to talk to each other, so they had that right. And also with the first one, I left this out, is should we stay in or should we go have fun? And they had dinner with their families, so I think they had a lot of sacrifice of not having enough them time. Question 3 would be the conflict styles. And this one was pretty much ironic. It's really funny actually. During the movie, there's competition, which is win-lose, which is my way. There's collaboration, which is win-win our way. There's compromise, which I know you hate, which is lose-lose, and it's kind of a halfway point. And now I didn't really realize that, because I kind of liked compromise. But it's a good point that you hate it because really both people are losing. There's avoidance, which is lose-lose. Like, no way, this is not working. We're not doing nothing. It's not effective at all. And then there's accommodation, which is lose-win, your way. So it covers all the different spectrums for the conflict styles. So in this movie, 100% their way of dealing with their conflict was avoidance. It was ironic during the whole movie was lose-lose, no way, it's not working. We come home, we go into our separate rooms, we're not talking to each other, and we're not getting anything done because it was not effective. It was very low effective on the scale. He got a random pool table because he wanted one. She said she kicked him out of their bowling team, and they really started to separate as a couple. And I think it was kind of stupid too because during the movie, you find out that she just wanted him to. It wasn't a healthy relationship because they never talked. And I think this relationship could have easily been fixed if they just talked because what happened was she really just wanted him to care, but she didn't really tell him, and then she broke up just to kind of get him to change, but he thought she was really breaking up with him, and it didn't work out because he didn't know the whole time that. And at the end, he's like, oh, well, why didn't you just say so? He makes this really nice dinner towards the very end of the movie, and then she ends up being hurt because they didn't talk about it. And she's like, I don't feel the same way towards you anymore. But really, the whole freaking time, they could have been fine together if they just worked things out and talked about it. But they just kept ignoring each other. And that goes in making sure I don't leave anything out. When, where, how, yeah. I explained it. Okay, and finally, that was the third question. And for the fourth question, for number 4, I'm choosing the dark side elements of communication are at play in the film. So I went through all the chapters in the purple boxes, and I mean, honestly, I think you can apply them both to, or all of them kind of, not all of them, but a lot of them you can apply to the movie. But I picked 3 main ones, and the first one I chose was chapter 4, which is called the glass light effect. And these dark side elements are kind of like problems that can occur in your kind of like the relational dialectics. It's kind of like that, like these like kind of trigger warnings. And so the first one, was the glass light effect. You never told me that it's kind of a sort of verbal abuse, and I'm not gonna blow it up a lot, but I saw a little bit of it in the guy and the girl, they both had kind of passive aggressiveness, and it was that verbal abuse, and they ended up both getting hurt because they kind of blamed it on each other and really never took the blame. That was a little bit of it. Another thing from chapter 8 is the jealousy type. And they said that it's very healthy for a little bit of jealousy in a romantic relationship, and I mean a little bit because it kind of is like, oh, you care about me. But they call it the green-eyed monster is when it gets kind of too crazy. And when she was dating, they were kind of doing their separate thing, she was trying to make him jealous, so she would have dates over. They were both trying to have each other jealous. She would have dates over, and she also got a wax and walked from the bathroom to the fridge, like naked. And so they were both playing the jealousy card to try to get each other back, but yet again, they did not talk to each other. And that is when I conclude to the chapter 4 and the chapter 8 were minor things, But chapter 12 was the biggest, I think, dark side element in this movie. It was called Silence Isn't Golden. They say being silenced is kind of like, it's good when you kind of bite your lip, you're like, oh, I'm not going to say anything because that would start something. But when a fight breaks out, like this movie, The Breakup, like this huge deal, they really destroy the relationship because they didn't talk it out, because they went to bed upset. And that's so important to actually talk things out. And they just went day by day, not talking about the problem, but just ignoring it. And slowly but surely, they grew apart without even knowing it. Because then at the end, he's like, well, he made this dinner, but it was too late. They already drew apart. They were already terminated in their own house. And that was the biggest thing in this whole entire movie, was just the silence isn't golden, because it can really hurt you. So I hope you enjoyed this, video vlog kind of thing. I think I'm a much better talker than a writer, and we just had that paper. So just want to spice things up a little bit. Peace out. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.